Once, there were slab phones. And then there were foldables. But wait, there was a brief time in between where the brands tried to execute a foldable-like device without needing a flexible display. Many brands have taken a shot at this, from the Kyocera Echo way back in 2011, the ZTE Axon M, or even LG in their dying days with their dual screen accessory. But I am here to take a look at an unlikely addition to this form factor. Now, you would never believe that the Windows people would be behind this, but indeed, it was Microsoft who came up with the most complete version of this dual screen device concept in the Microsoft Surface Duo. And boy, it is a quirky thing to use. Before we get into that, a like and a sub would really help the channel grow. Now let's dive into the Surface Duo. I actually have here the sequel to the Surface Duo, fittingly named the Duo 2. For the design, aside from the added camera bump, it stays mostly the same. What you have are two pieces joined together by a metal hinge with clasp backs, though I have put on a matte black skin on this white unit to give that two-tone panda color. What's quite amazing is gonna be the slimness, coming in at 5.5 millimeters for the individual pieces, just barely thicker than the Type-C port. This makes the Duo 2 much more slim, even when folded up compared to other older Z Folds, which had a hinge gap, whilst the Duo 2 here, it closes up perfectly. What isn't so perfect is when you close it the other way around, which has the camera bulge. Though to Microsoft's credit, they did angle the bump. There is no outer display, so if you want to use it folded up, you'll have to fold outwards. But you can really see the notebook resemblance here, and the stylus support on the Duo 2 further supports this message. Let's take a look at these screens. They are not narrow like the Z Folds, but rather 90Hz OLED screens that fold out into a tablet-like aspect ratio. And when folded up, it kind of looks like an old LG Optimus View, if you remember that phone. Yes, the wideness and the large bezels make the Duo 2 a bit awkward to hold as a phone, but the aspect ratio, it doesn't bug me at all, making content seem a bit larger than they actually are. You can span apps into full screen, but some of the text will be clipped at that gap. Said gap on the Duo 2 is actually improved from the first, curving into the edges so that it looks a little less noticeable and enables a peaking display when closed, called the glance bar. But frankly, this feature is kind of useless and hard to activate, so you might as well just open up the device and use it. For doing side-by-side work with two apps, Mr. Mobile shows off the productivity side quite well. But I am not a productive person, I am a skibbity toilet brain rot person, and I will show you how much fun you can get out of your Surface Duo. My common use case is having YouTube running whilst playing a game. Now, other creators show off the Duo reading ebooks, and it's definitely nice for that, but I think it's an even better digital manga. The physical hinge gap reinforcing the book-like facade, with its custom mat protector making it look even more paper-like. You can also prop up the Duo 2 when watching content, just like a built-in kickstand. Now, some peeps have turned their Duos into a great DS emulator. Heck, if you balance the settings right, you can even dual-wield gacha games thanks to its flagship guts. Now, the Snapdragon 888 inside is no longer the top dog, and it does heat up quite a bit. But with that heat comes some very respectable performance as well. The Duo 2 shipped with Android 11, but Microsoft only bothered to update it to 12. The software itself is customized extensively to work with those dual screens, but because of that, you can't use custom launchers on the Duo 2 as it breaks all the multitasking functions. The app splitting is both smart and dumb because you have a shifting dock that knows how to launch apps on the screen you tell it to, but then some apps, they just don't scale properly, like Reddit in horizontal mode. When collapsing the device, it will default to the right screen. You can double tap the left panel to switch to it, and reopening it turns on the previously used portion. You also get a customized status bar opening only on the screen you interacted with, and a skin settings panel as well, all of which echo the design identity of Windows 11. Now you can definitely see that Microsoft is putting a lot of effort into making Android work for the Duo, but it just has small issues that infuriate the user experience. Instead of giving a switch to toggle between 60 and 90 Hz modes, the Duo 2 auto-detects and chooses it for you. Except it sucks. It's very glitchy. I can't show it on camera, but some of the animations will make the screen just jarringly switch between 60 and 90 Hz, giving off a very choppy, laggy vibe. Thankfully, the Duo 2 has an easily unlockable bootloader for your rooting needs, and I was able to dual boot Android 14 using a GSI installation optimized for the Duo 2. It's pretty much stock Android, but with some useful tweaks like making the text skip the screen gap and fixing the choppy UI by just forcing 90 Hz. The foldable optimizations baked into modern Android have also benefited the Duo 2, with pretty decent multitasking, and you also get the useful pop-up app dock. Although it's not perfect, with this GSI having some battery drain issues, standby drain issues, rest assured you can still get firmware updates with some tinkering, of course. Perhaps the most disappointing part of the Duo 2 are gonna be its cameras. This triple sensor module looks capable, but honestly it's really mediocre, taking okay photos in good light, but it's nothing to write home about for quality. The camera app tries to take advantage of the two screens by offering a sort of side gallery view, but it's honestly not that useful. You know those cringe old parents who take pictures using iPads? Using the camera on the Duo 2 is kinda like that. You have to keep it opened to take a picture, making for clunky ergonomics. One redeeming thing is you can make use of the hinge to make a kind of pseudo camera stand. But I don't think the extra clunkiness and the extra panel gap was worth the inclusion of these cameras. I kind of wish that Microsoft just stuck to their guns, did not include a back camera just like the Duo 1, and knocked the price down a peg. Or they could have made it like a basic single camera for document scanning like the iPads have, without the bulge. Other regrettable hardware choices include the lack of a micro SD slot for a productivity device, and the touch digitizer, it's just not reliable, as sometimes it just takes a while to start registering my touches randomly. I wish I could say there was a Surface Duo 3 which fixed all of these problems and was literally perfect, but sadly that will never happen, as the Duo 2 is the last model Microsoft ever made. Most will think that the Duo has been made obsolete by foldable devices, and boy, the Duo's price when it came out sure didn't help. But I don't think so. Even after many generations, foldable devices continue to exhibit durability issues in the long run, whereas the Duo is much more sturdy and offers much of the productivity benefits of a bigger screen in a smaller size. With Samsung releasing iterative upgrades, it would have been nice to see the continuation of the Duo pitching itself as the professional, productivity-oriented alternative. Still, I've had an incredible time with the Duo 2 and will continue to do so for a long time to come. A device marking the concluding pages of yet another chapter of the phone market, closing the book on a time where experimentation was prioritized over pure profit optimization.